Matchday 14, Viridian Forest 2, PES United 2. Arclay Rovers 1, Castle Villa 0. Oakville Wanderers 0. Hyrule Wanderers 2. Pallet Town 0. Tellius Rovers 0. Sparta United 1. Raccoon City 1. Riften United 2. Palestone Albion 0. Seacrest County 0. Ridge County 0. Canlive City 0. Seoul City 0. Port Town 4. Mute City 2. Casadis Town 0. Donsai United 1. Table, yeah, so a draw. Because I just refused to partake in a cheat fest. Right, I'm going to show you something else that's really fucked up with this game now. 11,477,160 parliaments in the kitty. So, some of my players needed contracts. Oh, here we are. We've got the contract negotiations. So, Popov's contract renewal negotiations. Cervera's contract negotiations broke down. That's my job. There's been an update in A. Popov's contract renewal negotiations. J. Cervera's contract negotiations have broken down. Or Lester's contract negotiations have broken down. F. Busto's contract negotiations have broken down. A. Onana's contract negotiations have broken down. The scouting report has been updated. Be sure to take a look. Cheers, Scout. Oh, no problem, Blake. So if I go to my squad list. Okay, now I offered contract negotiations because, and I took things into account, if you go to squad list on your players and you click your R2 button, eventually you'll get to this bit. And this shows what affinity the players have with your club. So, for example, G. Bullen is relatively new to the squad, having come in last season. And, you know, it's kind of halfway with him. If we go to somebody like Phil Tizinho, who is a youth... See, Gregory Lean is a youth player, but he's not playing so much at the minute. JLCR has only just joined us, so his affinity with the club's quite low. So if we go to somebody like Phil Tizinho, who's getting a few games and he's come up from the youth team, then that's really quite high. Okay? Now, so in fact, I'll show you. So we offered Jay Cervera a contract, and he's played quite a lot for us. He's still developing. He's doing very well. He's won 2 titles with us. He's won a PEU Cup. He's playing in, you know, the Champions League now with us. And you would have thought, you know, there's a very good chance that you will be able to negotiate a contract with him. He's my bona fide first choice left back. And it's only really form and the fact that, you know, Phil Tizinho has been the youth player we're trying to develop that's, you know, dictated some of the matches that he hasn't started or has started recently. But he's my bona fide first choice left back, and I signed him as my bona fide left back when I was building my team. He's been faithful, ever present, and I really like him at left back. So you would have thought, you know, with that affinity, there's a good chance that he might sign a new contract, that we can get somewhere. If we go across to team management and contract renewals, obviously in this instance it's broken down. His contract will be running out next August, and you can see their contract the terms of his contract there. So we needed to renew his contract. There's the clubs that are interested because they always sniff around players whose contracts are due to expire. Cervera was one of them. Leicester was one of them. Busto was one of them. Onana was one of them. And Popov was one of them. he's in this instance, the other ones have collapsed, and Popov is asking for a 1-year deal. If we look at the reasons that the other ones have collapsed, negotiations broken down. This player has a lot of potential to improve and isn't keen to be tied down to a long-term contract. Right. This player has a lot of potential to improve and isn't keen to be tied down to a long-term contract. Okay. So where can he go? He can go to Sunderland. Does he have a chance of winning the Premier League? No. He can go to Greencamp. He can go to a couple of fictional clubs. But we've won 2 titles back to back. We've won a PEU Cup. He's scoring goals. He's come on leaps and bounds. We're in Europe. Do you not think that he might, he's my first choice bona fide centre forward. Do you not think he might want to stay a bit? I might. I might think that because logically, there's a lot of reasons that he might want to stay. We might be offering him a new deal. Isn't keen to be tied down to a long-term contract. Isn't keen to be tied down to a long-term contract to Leicester. He's my first choice left midfielder. But what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you will play. We're playing Champions League. We're a successful team. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand this. And it just seems to be stacked against the player to maintain a good teamwork. Because if you're chopping and changing players like it's trying to force you to do, then, do you know what I mean? And this whole contract negotiation thing. So the scouting setup's busted. It's broken. This is a pathetic attempt at a football game. It's pathetic. You're building a team. No, you've got to change players all the time. But teamwork's important. So if it's important, how do you build it and maintain it? Oh, that's the challenge, player. What, you mean like the derby match? Was that the challenge? I just don't get it. I don't get it. If anybody else understands this contract thing, because, especially if you couple it with the affinity. So let's go affinity. Cervera, so he was one. Leicester, he was the other. I mean, look at this affinity. Busto, he's only missing one on his affinity. For crying out loud, what you got to do? Oh no, tough game. That's the challenge, player. Or this is a broken piece of shit that's poorly made. You decide. So I just thought I'd show you that because, in my opinion, that is fucking broken. This is a piece of shit. But hey, reviews, don't forget, you gave this 9.5 and 9 out of 10. Oh dear. And there are actually PES players out there who still believe that this game is great. I don't understand. Okay, so Popov, so what can we do? We want you to sign a longer deal. So we're going to ask you to sign a longer deal. And the other thing with this is, if the player comes back and says no, if you fail in your contract negotiation with them, then they won't be up to negotiate again. All you get is one chance to negotiate, and if that goes wrong, your player will not sign a new deal and other teams can buy them for not a lot of cash. It is stacked completely against the player, and for a fact that's not how negotiations happen in real life. Players don't suddenly go, no, and I'm not talking to you ever again, I'm taking my bat and ball home. Do you know what I mean? It's not happening, people. It's not happening. It's bullshit. Okay, so what players did my brilliant, amazing scout that is completely shit? What did he find? He found me a DMF, a goalkeeper, and a right back. We do not need a right back. We do not need a goalkeeper. And we do not need a defensive midfielder who can only do one position well. And the other thing to add to these contracts is he's been contacted by a big club and he's using it as leverage. Well, I would have said if you're back-to-back title winners and PEU Cup winners, and don't forget we won the Super Cup as well. You know, not that it counts or anything, but in PES it's a trophy that means something. And we're Champions League football and qualified again because obviously we're back-to-back winners, and we're signing, you know, upping the quality of our players. Don't you think that we're, you know, doing all right in that regard? I mean, what is our ranking, our club ranking? Our club ranking is 90, so we're on the up. We're inside the top 100 clubs in PES 2016 at the minute. So, you know, you would have thought that actually, you know, we're on the up, and that would count for something, but no. Apparently not. Apparently in the world of PES 2016, all reason, logic goes out the window and fuck the player, because you know what, that's just how it is. Okay, so we are playing Seoul City next. And there's a little bit of tiredness in the squad and a couple of blue arrows here and there. Hopefully the game won't, you know, well, it's not a derby match, so I'll play that one properly and see what happens. Should have a good squad going into that, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, join me for that. Extend that invitation as well, and as always, take care.